back of the nose and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, dirt, and germs. And it's why nose cleaning is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." That's because Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Here's the key point: Navage is good personal hygiene, and it's going to help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
A town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is hit! He stumbles! He's down!
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
You know, usually that me, Josh Hennig, loves football, but a game like tonight, football is big time tonight. Chargers, Chiefs, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, going head-to-head. 7:30 p.m. is the coverage here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get into football as well as the Eagles' latest injury report, give you the update on that front, plus college football back this weekend. Gino Torretta, the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner and college football analyst for the Touchdown Radio Network. He will join us in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you can join the conversation. 609-403-0973 is the text board. You can also DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. So a bunch of things to get to today on Game Night. I will get you the Eagles injury report, the latest first, because the Eagles play on Monday night. So the first injury report of the week was today. And I got some good news for you. There was only one legitimate injury on the injury report. Everyone was listed as rest for why they were limited practice. Everyone but Jack Stoll. Now, personally, I want to see Jack Stoll out there. The moment Noah Togiai dropped that pass, I was losing my mind. That dude is literally in the game because the Eagles wanted Dallas Goedert as a blocker and Togiai to go out as a receiver, and he drops the ball. So I hope Togiai does not play this Monday night. I hope he's sitting on the sideline feeling himself about how he shouldn't have dropped that ball as he watches Jack Stoll catch a touchdown on Monday Night Football. That's what I hope happens. So hopefully Stoll's injured ankle is good enough by Monday night. And I know I sound mean, but let me get something straight for you guys. I think that dropping passes in the NFL is one of the most ridiculous things in the world. I will never understand why you are a professional athlete. Your only job is to catch a football. Your job is to not drop the football. If the ball hits you in the catch radius, which is, for those who are not fully sure what that means, to me, the catch radius, from what at least I was taught over the years, is from the top of your head to your belt line. And then it is the width of your arms as if you had them up in a touchdown, like an official is saying touchdown. That is your catch radius. If the ball is anywhere in between the top of your head and your belt, and from elbow to elbow, if your arms are up in a touchdown formation, you should catch the ball. The fact that the Eagles had multiple drops makes me wonder. Well, it makes me wonder a lot of things. One, we're so the Jalen Hurts haters are so mad at him for his completion percentage, but we don't factor in drop passes. See, I think we need to change all the stats across the board. I think that completion percentage has become a farce of a stat. It used to be a stat that people like me bought into heavily. And now, with the last several years that we have the drop pass stat, I think that we should take all the drop passes out of the quarterback completion percentage, and then you get an accurate percentage. Until then, I don't care that Jalen Hurts had 56%, because you know what? Trevor Lawrence had 57%, and nobody's telling me that Trevor Lawrence sucks, okay? Until we actually treat completion percentage like we do batting average in baseball, I can't give it validity anymore. Look at baseball. In baseball, a hitter is not penalized if he's hit by the pitch or he's walked. It doesn't go on his column as a negative against his batting average. In fact, they take that at bat totally out of the equation. You got to do the same thing with the drop passes. There have been multiple times over the years I have watched games, Eagles games, with, for example, Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts. I've seen multiple times in games where you have guys like Aaron Rodgers on Sunday with all these drop passes. I think all those drop passes should be taken out of completion percentage. And until it is, I think the stat is flawed and is pathetic. Now, I'm not discounting the bad passes by quarterbacks. Every quarterback has bad passes. But to me, at minimum, you got to take the drop passes away. So, for example, when Aaron Rodgers had Christian Watson drop that surefire touchdown on the sideline last week, that shouldn't go against his completion percentage. I never understood why football, for all the analytics, for all the advanced stats we have, you can't just fix that one stat. So dumb to me. But yeah, I hope that Jack Stoll plays on Monday night and Noah Togiai is sitting on the sideline in street clothes, crying on the inside because he couldn't catch a pass right in his hands on Sunday. You know, for every time we criticize quarterbacks, I wish we had the same venom that we had the quarterbacks that we do for players who can't catch the ball. I think I can only think of two players in my entire life who got heavily criticized for dropping the ball. Nelson Aguilar, which was a little over the top, but it was deserved, and James Thrash. I mean, there was literally famous memes and lines and everything about Nelson Aguilar, and for a good portion of my life, I knew people who thought James Thrash's name was James Trash. Okay, so, you know, for me, can't recall any receivers outside of Philadelphia being heavily criticized. Look, maybe it's because I spent most of my life living in the Philadelphia area and living in Philadelphia sports country. Those are the only ones I know. But I just wish that on a national level, we would start treating other athletes poorly the way we treat quarterbacks. You miss multiple tackles in a game, I think you deserve the same amount of venom that the people who hate the quarterback for fill in the blank reasons should get. And I know why people criticize the quarterback more, because it's the most important position in the sport. It's the most recognizable position in the sport. It's the most sexy position in the sport. But at some point, and I wasn't planning to talk about this at all, so I totally got off the rails here. So pardon me, Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get to Thursday football in a moment, but I just don't understand why it's only someone like Billy Schwein on the locker room here on 97.3 ripping linebackers for missing tackles. Like, why don't we rip everybody? If a running back fumbles the ball, remember Bryce Brown? Remember the whole thing with him was, man, if Bryce Brown would just stop fumbling the ball, he might be a good running back. No one came up with a fancy name for him. By the way, good job by the texter, Todd Stinkston. Yeah, it was James Trash, Todd Stinkston. Was there a nickname for Reggie Brown? I don't remember. I feel like there should have been. But yeah, Trash and Stinkston were definitely two right there. Paul in Northfield says it's like a baseball player not be able to get down a bunt. It's like a receiver not catching the ball. Paul, you're right. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why. Look, I know we're not supposed to correlate money with, a person's ability to do a job, because we live in a world where you're paid based on what the market basically demands of that person to make. Okay. Listen, people don't get paid based on their worth. We know that it's a fact of life. If people were paid by their worth, well, we know for sure that there are a lot of people who wouldn't be millionaires, and there's a lot of people who are poor who make a lot more money. But I digress. I just feel like if your only job is to play sports, Paul in Northfield is right. You have to be able to bunt the ball if you're a Major League Baseball player. And if you're an NFL wide receiver, you got to catch the ball. And I just don't understand why on the week after a game, we are not complaining more about Devonta Smith and Noah Togiai more for dropping passes. Devonta Smith is a Heisman Trophy winner, first-round pick. People have talked about how, man, he had no catches. Well, he would have had one if he just would have caught it, because it was in, as I said, the catch radius. Now, hopefully tonight we don't see any drops between the Chiefs and the Chargers, because these are two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And on 97.3 ESPN FM tonight, 7:30 p.m. begins the coverage. Look, Herbert and Mahomes are going to go off tonight. This is going to be an exciting, fun game. It's going to be a shootout. And when I saw this stat, I couldn't believe it. Before Justin Herbert was drafted, that's the delineation we're going with here. Since before Justin Herbert was drafted, the Chargers had one win over the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era. Since Justin Herbert was drafted, the Chargers are 2-2 against Mahomes. That is how big a difference Justin Herbert is. And you know what? I got to tell you guys, this is a guy who's playing for a franchise that has been a massive disappointment over the years. There have been so many times over the years that we thought the Chargers were going to be a playoff team, and they choke. The defense falls apart. Guys get injured on the offensive line. It's a mess. But Herbert has shown out to be so amazing that he has made the difference in a major rivalry game. And tonight, the Chiefs fans are already there. They opened the gates for Thursday Night Football at 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, because there were so many people already at Arrowhead Stadium that the Chiefs decided that they had to let people in to not block up the roads and highways near the complex. That's how crazy it's going to be. They always say that Kansas City is one of the loudest stadiums in all the NFL. It's going to get loud tonight. And when you're pulling up your Amazon Prime app, or you're going to your local establishment watching the game, I hope you can hear the audio of that Kansas City crowd. I want to know how loud it's going to get, because I think they're going to be really lubricated, if you know what I mean, for the game tonight. You got in at 1:30 Central Time, 2:30 Pacific Time for a game that's kicking off 6 hours later. Hey, if you're an Eagles fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're going to be the same way on Monday night for that Vikings game. Woo! Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City, being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Did you know that over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated seat that football players sit on? Now, imagine what they can do for your home. Yes, the Jenkins family created a way for football players to weather the extreme cold on frigid game days. Now find out why so many homeowners and business owners count on Jenkins for quality service and reliability. So, gas furnaces, boiler, hot water heater replacement, air conditioning, whatever you need, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is your one-stop shop. Don't call the drain guy or several other people to do your job. Jenkins technicians do it all. Give them a call at 609-641-6262 or visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. 1992 Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta is next. Talk some college football on his weekly segment here with me, Josh Hennig, on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Touchdown Radio is off to the plains of Auburn, Alabama this Saturday. 2-0 Auburn hosts 2-0 Penn State at 3:30 Eastern. The Nittany Lions shut down Ohio last week. Auburn had a slow start against San Jose State, but now the Tigers have their first true test of the season. Join me, Gino Torretta, and JP Shadrick for Penn State at Auburn, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on this Touchdown Radio station.
It's College Football Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins after Game 1 of our triple header.
Are you getting hit hard by low trade offers?
Ouch! That was a blindside. That's a personal foul.
Don't get blindsided by low trade offers. Bring any trade to Matt Platt Kia. Just because you don't see your new Kia on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving it home tomorrow. Select from hundreds of new and certified Kias in stock or on the way. Worried about your credit? Forget it. We finance your future, not your past, with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade and drive home in a new Kia today with peace of mind. Matt Platt Kia's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 and Toms River.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
And Doug. Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ocean Casino Resort is the ultimate fantasy draft party spot. Go for the bragging rights this fantasy football season and plan your draft party at Top Golf. Each party receives a dedicated VIP draft space or private bay at Top Golf for up to 4 hours, an ocean draft board, swag bag, championship trophy, and more. Your fantasy football season starts here at Ocean Casino Resort. For more details, visit theoceanac.com. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. Let's go! Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
The Tomato Law Firm focuses their practice on representing those who have been seriously injured in construction, product liability, and motor vehicle collisions. Their firm handles cases throughout the country, primarily focusing on representing injured victims in Southern New Jersey. They've been focused on helping accident victims in Southern New Jersey for more than 50 years. If you've been seriously injured, do not wait. Call D'Amato Law today at 609-926-3300 or visit DAMATOLawFirm.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, leaving the light on for truckers. As a thanks for all you do, we're asking America to bring back the air pump salute. We know you miss kids doing it. It always brought a smile to your face on an otherwise lonely stretch of road. So keep an eye out for wound-up kids in the back seat pumping their little arms off. Then give them an air horn blast that'll blow their tiny minds. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig reminding you to trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Because when we needed to make the 97.3 ESPN studio comfortable, that's who we called, and you should too. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning services, call 609-641-6262. Online at jenkinsandsons.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Get to more of your guys' thoughts and comments throughout the hour. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. So we got Thursday Night Football tonight on 97.3 ESPN FM. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. tonight. And then this weekend, we got a busy Saturday in college football. A triple header starting at noon here on 97.3 ESPN. The University of Miami hits the road to take on Texas A&M, followed by Penn State and Auburn in the mid-afternoon game. And then the nightcap is Georgia versus South Carolina. Sunday, we also have a triple header of action on 97.3 ESPN. No Eagles game on Sunday, so we got 3 non-Eagles games on tap. Bucks Saints coverage begins over at 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, followed by the Bengals and Cowboys, and then the nightcap Sunday Night Football, Bears and Packers here on your home for football in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN FM. Talk more football now, college football. He joins us every week. He is on the Touchdown Radio Network. They have Auburn and Penn State at 3:30 p.m. kickoff this Saturday on 97.3 ESPN FM. Well, we had him and we just lost him. But Gino Torretta will call back in just a moment. We had Gino hanging on the line there to bring up, and I think we got him on. I think we got him now. Gino, Josh Hennig, how you doing today, my friend? Gino, do we got you now?
Yeah, there's a bad storm and it's knocking my my telecommunications all over the place.
Well, hopefully you're staying dry. How is the week preparation for Auburn Penn State been like for you?
It's been awesome. A little surprising. A Big Ten team's never gone and come into the Plains and played Auburn before. So this is normally the end of the season, kind of the Citrus Bowl matchup, if you will.
Before we dig deeper into the game, I want to ask you first about your touchdown radio game last weekend. USC looked basically unstoppable for most of that game versus Stanford. So I ask you, as someone who watched it, is USC back? Are we looking at potentially Caleb Williams in a Heisman Trophy conversation? What do we take away from USC's win over Stanford?
Well, I think that they have terrific skill talent on offense. Between Williams, Jordan Addison is just an absolute beast at the wide receiver position. And then, Mario Williams, a transfer from Oklahoma receiver, Jerry Rice's son at receiver. So they have the skill positions there. The one thing I didn't think, I thought they could run the ball a lot more successfully against Stanford. Stanford was the worst run defense in the Pac-12 a season ago. They haven't shown they can stop the run this year yet. and yet USC wasn't very consistent running the ball, which I was kind of disappointed in. I guess you wanted me to tell you if there's chinks in the armor. And I thought defensively they gave up some plays. But if that's, ground level and you're going to improve as the season goes on, I know that the Pac-12 is waving their flag proudly because that's their only chance of trying to get in the playoffs is if USC runs the table.
Well, speaking of USC running a table, to me, the game that I have circled on my calendar is October 15th in Utah. To me, if USC runs the schedule, that means they beat a pretty good Utah team that's, you could argue is still licking their wounds from that Florida loss.
Well, there's no question. And then that's going to be where, there's the college football disagreement of, Utah went on the road, barely lost to Florida. But what happens if Florida's season doesn't go very well? They ended up losing to Kentucky last week. So let's say they lose to Tennessee, who they got, in another week. We have on Touchdown Radio. Florida's also got to play Georgia. Florida's staring down the barrel of maybe 3 losses just with that part of their schedule. So it might not be a feather in the cap of, USC going on the road beating Utah if Florida ends up, having a season that they'd like to forget.
Well, let's hit on Florida because I think Mark Stoops and his Kentucky coaching staff did a great job at exposing Anthony Richardson in that Florida offense. 1 week Richardson is like a Heisman Trophy candidate, and the next week he's a forgotten man.
He was that was the king of the overreaction. Like, damn, Florida's back in only 1 year after firing Dan Mullins. But I think you're right. I mean, I think that what you see is you need consistent play under center, and I think that maybe last week was why Dan Mullen a season ago didn't give Richardson the keys to the car full time because of that inconsistency. And, I think sometimes though, it seemed like, sometimes these coordinators get locked into their game plan instead of just letting guys be players. And I think, looked to me like Richardson might have been thinking a little bit too much in that game, and instead of just letting his athleticism take over and be a quarterback.
I know a lot of NFL scouts were at that Florida-Kentucky game because you had 2 guys who they're all both keep an eye on. Obviously, Richardson younger than Levis, but they're both athletic guys with big arms. Do you think they are both going to be guys who make sense for the next level? Or do you think those guys' skill sets are more, make sense for the college level?
Well, I think if you want to do a combine and you put Richardson up against anybody in college football, I don't know if you'd have a more impressive kid. I mean, because you got a guy that just runs like the wind, and he throws what I say is a spinner. I mean, his ball just shoots out of his hand like a rocket, and he's got a bazooka. So I think. And, go the route of, hopefully not perform like some of the guys where they do that and then they get in the league and they don't perform like their workouts. But I think both of them have the talent to be there. But to get to the NFL is one thing. To stay there and to have success, you can't have stinkers like you did last week. I mean, that's just, a straight up fact is, you're talking about the best 100 guys in the world playing a position, and you have to be consistent week in and week out.
1992 Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, the Touchdown Radio Network Game of the Week. This Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN is Auburn, Penn State. Gino, let's jump into that game because I couldn't believe this when I saw this put out there. I didn't realize that these two never played each other until 1996 at the Outback Bowl. I mean, talk about 2 schools that have a crazy amount of tradition, and it's like, oh, by the way, they didn't play each other for basically 100 years.
And oh, by the way, the Big Ten Conference has never played a game in Jordan-Hare. That killed me. I was just like, wait a second. No off season. No, right. One of the 3 preseason games, you couldn't have some kind of home and home. And you just got that tradition and of Penn State, it's going to be an awesome environment. Auburn is a tremendous environment. The question is, Auburn, just like Florida, they need better quarterback play. Finley's only got one touchdown. He's got a few picks. He's another guy, big, athletic, can run, can throw it. But you need to be consistent, and Auburn's going to need all of his game this week to beat Penn State, because Penn State's going to go out there and they're going to try to pound the rock, and they got an experienced quarterback, and but it should be just an awesome game.
These two played almost exactly a year ago from the day they're playing this Saturday. It was in Penn State. 38-20 game, but I don't know if that 28-20 game tells the full story, Gino, because I felt like that game could have been Auburn's. They had a couple of chances at it. So what is the biggest thing Auburn has to do to beat Penn State this time round?
Well, I think they can't turn the ball over. I think you're exactly right. You look at Auburn's season a season ago. I mean, this game on the road, they had Penn State on the ropes and didn't close out the deal. The end of the season, the Iron Bowl, they had Alabama on the ropes and couldn't close out the deal. And Finley was under center at the end of that Bama game last year. So they just have to close the deal. And sometimes teams, it just takes one where you get over the hump and it builds your confidence a little bit, and you feel a little bit better about your squad. And I think this is a critical game, because you look. I don't think how much do we really know about Auburn? I mean, they played Mercer, and then they struggled last week with San Jose State. So I don't know. I think there are a lot of questions going into this game. They got rid of the athletic director a couple of weeks ago. And if you follow Auburn football over the last decade, they run off coaches. They run off Tuberville, and he was the only guy that kept consistently beating Alabama. Yep. They run off Malzahn. I mean, he was on the hot seat, it seemed like, about 4 or 5 years consistently. And then they got rid of him. Now they get Harsin. He's 8-7 in 2 years, and now the AD's gone. I'm just gonna. I don't like to see guys lose their job, but I'm going to tell you, if Auburn doesn't win this game, I think there's going to be some serious heat on making another coaching change at Auburn.
Wow. There's a lot of Penn State fans in this area, Gino. So, what do you think will be the key player or the key thing to watch out for the Penn State fans? If Penn State's going to win this game on Saturday, who's the guy or guys that are going to make it happen?
Well, Penn State's defense is 100th in the country. So if I'm thinking Penn State's defense needs to play big, I think that Joey Porter's kids got to have a huge game on the outside at corner. There's safeties who are outstanding players at Penn State, but I think it's going to come down to the secondary for Penn State. They have to have a big game. Jair Brown's the safety, and I think it's going to be incumbent upon the secondary to actually force Finley into throwing a pick for them too. But like you said, I mean, I'm getting calls right now from my friends in Philly. Hey, do you have any extra tickets to this game? I'm like, tickets? I forget. I'm like, what game am I doing? And I'm like, Penn State. Why are you going? Why do you want to go to Auburn? I was like, oh, I forgot.
I'm still stuck on when you said they're 100th in the country on defense. Speaking of people in this area, sports betting is big up here, Gino. I feel like that's a recipe for a lot of people to go hit the over 47.5.
That could be. There's it's not the pass defense is lacking. Let's see, they're 100th and Auburn's 83rd. So for a game that I like throwing the rock. So that should bode well for some points. But I will say this: Auburn's defense is usually pretty stout up front. At least they have been in the past. So we will see. I'm sure everybody's going to be hyped up about this one.
Yeah, the Touchdown Radio Game of the Week, 3:30 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Gino Torretta will be on the call for that. Gino, a couple more games I want to ask you about before I let you go. Alabama escaped from Texas with that win. So in your mind, is Alabama coming back down to the crowd, or is Texas that much better?
I think Texas is a lot better. I think that Sarkisian, listen, wherever he's coached, whether it was USC, whether it was Washington, whether it was Alabama, he could dial up an offensive game plan. And I think he showed that. I'm a little disappointed that obviously his starting quarterback, Ewers, got hurt after starting out lights out. But Texas has players. They've gotten better. And I think it's just a situation, you get in the start of a season, and I think that we all just assumed, everybody was like, okay, you got a Heisman Trophy winner back at quarterback. You got the best player in the country on defense and Will Anderson, pretty much defense intact. You got to replace some players on Alabama's team, but we didn't think that was that big of a deal. And I think it was an early season. Guys weren't battle tested, and sometimes complacency is a killer in athletics. And I think that maybe some of the young players just kind of expected. Heck, they read the newspaper. Man, we're favored by 3 touchdowns. We're gonna kick Texas's butt going on the road, and then you get in a dogfight, and you're like, wow, these guys are pretty good. They're on scholarship too, and I think it was just kind of an early season. They didn't have played it. And Texas is better than probably we all gave him credit for going into the game.
Well, you mentioned that quarterback for Texas, Quinn Ewers. He's supposed to be out 2 to 3 weeks. Well, Gino, you know what happens after 3 weeks? That's Red River. So Ewers might be back for that game with Oklahoma. That's a little convenient.
Yeah, well, you can bet they're going to do everything they can. I think that, I hope he can. I had AC injuries in both seasons when I started. It's kind of one of those things where, they used to surgically repair them, then they stopped, and then now it's really just kind of a pain management situation. Hopefully, some cortisone in there can reduce the swelling and he can get back playing. But he's going to deal with pain the rest of the season, whether he's back in 2 weeks or whether he's back in 4 or 6 or 8.
Gina, I want to ask you about the game that will be on 97.3 ESPN before your game at 3:30, Penn State versus Auburn on the Touchdown Radio Network. We're going to have Miami at Texas A&M. I am very fascinated by this game, Gino, because look, Texas A&M does not look like they're mature enough right now after that App State loss, and now you got Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes heading down there.
Yes, the one thing that Texas A&M doesn't have, just like I don't know if we're harping on the quarterbacks or bad-mouthing the quarterback, under center. You had a team like App State was able to hold the ball for 40 minutes. And they basically played keep away from Texas A&M and ended up, stealing one from them. Now, Texas A&M, now their back's against the wall. They were expected to compete for a national championship. This is a team that beat Alabama a season ago. So I think that they know that a 2-loss team isn't getting in the playoffs. So I think this is going to be a completely different team, Texas A&M this week than they were last week. The disappointing thing, Miami just announced Restrepo, the starting wide receiver, their best receiver by far on Miami's offense, is out of the game. And there are so many question marks in the Miami's passing game with him out there. So I think that does not bode well for Miami's offense when Restrepo, who's kind of the security blanket and roommate for Van Dyke, he's out with a foot injury.
If Miami gets this win and they go to 3-0, what do you think they can do the rest of this season? Because Gino, even if you're not the greatest team in the world, confidence is a powerful thing especially for young college athletes.
Yeah, and because of that, they should be favored. And in probably every game outside of when they go on the road to play Clemson. I think that, that is, you're exactly right. When you're a young team and, obviously, Mario's his first year coaching and you win one of those games, maybe you shouldn't. They're almost a 2 field goal underdog in this game. And people are like, it's going to be tough. And, A&M lost, you guys shouldn't win. But if they do, you're right. Then, when you believe it's 90% is just getting young players to believe, what they could do, or maybe they can do things that they didn't think they could. And I think that they would definitely build on that. And, they should have, a heck of a season if they can pull one out on the road.
Follow him on Twitter at Gino Torretta. He is the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner and college football analyst for the Touchdown Radio Network. This Saturday, 3:30 p.m., Penn State versus Auburn right here on 97.3 ESPN. Gino, always appreciate you jumping on. Stay safe with that weather out there, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Josh.
And, of course, you can hear the University of Miami versus Texas A&M game right after Gino's game here on 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, so much great stuff from Gino. I want to hit on 2 things he said before I get out of here. First of all, Miami, think about this. Miami's schedule, he just mentioned it. If they win this game, they could be favored almost the rest of their schedule. Look, they got a North Carolina team on their schedule that's just not very good defensively this year. Virginia Tech, not very good overall this year. Florida State, it's a big rivalry game, but you think you got FSU at home, not on the road. You should probably find a way to win that game. So really, the only stumbling blocks are at the end of the season. At Clemson and home against Pittsburgh. If Miami can start rumbling off a bunch of games in a row, that could be a big deal. Now, on the flip side, let's look at the other thing I mentioned earlier. This game that Gino is going to call between Penn State and Auburn here on 97.3 ESPN, this may make or break these teams' season. Auburn, as he mentioned, has not looked good for 2 games against very, very underwhelming opposition. Mercer and San Jose State University. They barely beat San Jose State University at home. Meanwhile, Penn State has been tested this year already on the road at Purdue. They survived. They came home. They handled business against Ohio. Think about how different both of these team seasons will go. If Auburn loses this game on Saturday, there's a possibility that by the time you get to the Iron Bowl with Alabama, Auburn could have 4 or 5 losses. So if they lose to Penn State, they go to Georgia, that's probably a loss. They go at Ole Miss, that's probably a loss. So now you're at 3, home against Arkansas, coin flip game. So you could have 4 losses by the time you even get to Alabama. Meanwhile, Penn State, if Penn State can win this game on the flip side of the coin, their next difficult game is at Michigan. And for the Penn State players, you're thinking, we went to Purdue and beat them. We went to Auburn and beat them. Why can't we go to the big house and beat Michigan? Confidence, it's a crazy thing, man. I've seen it numerous times. Look at that App State Texas A&M game. As that game went along, you saw the eyes of the App State players get bigger and bigger. Like, we're going to win this game. And you saw the spirit of Texas A&M melting away. So I'm telling you guys right now, this Auburn-Penn State game could make or break both these teams. Because if Penn State loses to Auburn, I told you, they're at Michigan. Then they got Ohio State 2 weeks later. That schedule starts looking very ominous. When you don't have that one loss in the column, it changes how people perceive you. It changes your mentality as a football team. Again, you can hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN this weekend. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. I'll get to your messages on the other side. Text board is open, 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I'll give you my pick as well for tonight's Thursday football game, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Ian Eagle here from Thursday Night Football on Westwood One. From Kansas City, it's a big AFC battle to start Week 2. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs play host to Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers, with both coming off impressive wins and looking for the early upper hand in what may be the best division in football. Join Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and me on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Jackpot alert. Both Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots are over $255 million. What would you do with all that cash? Take a chance today. After all, anything can happen in Jersey.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Check out Chicky and Pete's all-new happy hour every weekday starting at 4 p.m. Enjoy select craft beers, seltzers, and wines for $5, plus feature cocktails for $7 on our special happy hour food menu. We call it the Bar Board, with world-famous crab fries, tasty pretzel nuggets, and get ready, Curds-A-Roni, with crispy bacon and Dijon cheese sauce. Chicky and Pete's all-new happy hour every weekday starting at 4 p.m. Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. College football is back. Come join us for XL College Football Saturdays every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. We have you covered. Ice cold domestic draft personal pitchers for just $5. Plus a wing special for you and your crew like no other. 40 classic or boneless Chicky and Pete's award-winning wings for just $60. Choose from buffalo, barbecue, dry rub, or the new kid on the wing block, spicy Thai peanut wings. XL College Football Saturdays, only from Chickies and Pete's.
If you're one of the 100 million Americans who suffer from high blood pressure, this is for you. New Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure is specially formulated for people with high blood pressure. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free and alcohol-free. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is also decongestant-free, unlike some ordinary cold medicines. So look for Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure? Medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, folks, it's JR, the #1 documented source out of WagerPro.com, coming off a 5-0 Sunday for all my clients Week 1 and starting out tonight for Week 2. Guys, I couldn't be more excited. I love this game. Call now, Kansas City, LA, free on a recorded message that's 30 seconds long. 800-499-3733. That's 800-499-3733. Call right now, 800-499-3733. Sports bettors, I want you to take your own opinion for tonight's Kansas City LA game and put it on the sidelines. I couldn't ask for a better game than to give out for free than this Kansas City LA game tonight. I'm releasing it free right now on my famous recorded message. So call 800-499-3733. That's 800-499-3733. Call 800-499-FREE.
You wash your hands and brush your teeth, but what about your nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage pulls saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, dirt, and germs, and it's why nose cleaning is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." That's because Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Here's the key point. Navage is good personal hygiene, and it's going to help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
And Doug.
Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The opioids I was prescribed made me feel worse.
I was pregnant, addicted, and scared.
I thought painkillers would get me back on the field faster. I was wrong.
Then I heard about 844-REACH-NJ.
I got into treatment and delivered a healthy baby girl.
844-REACH-NJ was the call I needed to make.
I'm glad I made the call.
I made the call.
Hello, REACH-NJ.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, call 844-REACH-NJ from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig reminding you to kick off football season at FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's in Atlantic City. Bet, watch, and win all season long. Plus, enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. Just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or older to play in present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's check in on some of the messages from you guys out there before I get to some of my thoughts specifically for tonight's game here on Game Night. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. You're home for football. Eagles Monday on Monday Night Football. Of course, tonight, Thursday Night Football, 7:30 p.m. is the coverage tonight on 97.3 ESPN. College football all Saturday long. You just heard Gino Torretta from the Touchdown Radio Network. They will be at 3:30 p.m. The game after them, Miami versus Texas A&M. And, of course, before that will be Georgia and South Carolina. A little triple header action for you here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. I went on a rant earlier in the show, and apparently people are receptive to that rant. Glenn from EHT chimes in and says, I've been saying for so many years what you're saying about receivers, and when they drop catchable passes, just like in baseball, when a player blows an obvious out, it's an error, it doesn't go against the pitcher. You should apply the same thing when it comes to drop passes, and it was applied to drop pass should be a stat shown on the receiver line. See, Glenn from EHT just went to another level that I wish I would have thought of. I wish I would have thought of what Glenn just said. That's a great point. Why isn't there drop passes on a receiver stat line? Like, we all know that Terrell Owens dropped a bunch of passes during his time in the NFL. Why isn't that a stat when you go to, like, whatever website you go to your stats for, right? To me, that makes so much sense what Glenn just said. Hey, if you drop passes, it should be a stat that we can look at and say, who has the most drop passes in the NFL? You know what you got to do right now? You got to go to about 5 different websites, hope to get the advanced analytics numbers to find drop passes. It's hard. You could find, for example, catch percentage, which is, catches versus targets, and it's a percentage of that, how many catches versus how many targets. That's a stat on the line. Why not put drops in there? Because then you have a real measure of these guys out there. It's a great point by Glenn and EHT. I wish I would have thought of it. That's how great it is. A couple things before we get out of here. I'm sorry to disappoint Jeff in Ocean City, but I am sleeping on the Chargers D. I got to tell you, I think the Chargers defense doesn't know what's coming for him. This guy, Patrick Mahomes, he's another level. He's not Derek Carr. No offense, Derek Carr. You're not going to be able to do to them what you did last week. Because one of the things, you go back and watch the tape. What did the Chargers do last week? The Chargers are a team that did an excellent job with the outside, okay? They did an excellent job at slowing down the Raiders receivers on the outside. Well, you could argue the Chiefs, 2 of their biggest weapons are not their outside receivers. While Valdez-Scantling and Mecole Hardman are probably going to be the majority of the time the guys on the outside, Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce are both going to spend a majority of their time over the middle of the field. And that is not the strength of this Chargers team. And with J.C. Jackson still not 100% after his surgery in the offseason, he was questionable. All signs point that he's going to play tonight and be good to go. I really do think that this game is going to be a very interesting game for the Chiefs offense. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. And when you go over to FanDuel Sportsbook over off the boardwalk at Bally's in Atlantic City with their 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating right over at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's of Atlantic City, when you catch Thursday football tonight, I am going to disagree with Jeff in Ocean City. I'm going over 53.5. I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I haven't heard a lot of people who disagree with that. I think that you have a situation where I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to throw any less than 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a really big night. I know that Mahomes is listed. I got to find it again. Passing yards. Here it is. Mahomes is 295.5 over under. I wouldn't be surprised if both Herbert and Mahomes hit the over on their passing yards. And by the way, if you parlay that together, it's plus 231 over my friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Casino in Atlantic City. Must be 21 or older to play and present in New Jersey. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, thanks again to Gino Torretta for joining the show. Thursday football today. I'm looking forward to it. Herbert, Mahomes tonight. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Health update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in to YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe to Josh Hennig on YouTube so you can get the extra content after the show. You know, one of the things I didn't get to hit on at the end of the show there is that the other part of this game tonight is why I think it'll go over, is because I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to be that good either. No Trent McDuffie. The Chiefs are banged up, man. And anytime you have defensive players who are not 100% healthy, I tend to lean to the idea that you're not going to be able to hold a team with Justin Herbert at quarterback down. I think this is going to be one of those 30-35, 30-27 kind of games. And both of those numbers hit the over. I was listening to, people who all they do is study film, right? And I've heard multiple people who watch film tell me this might be the best version of Patrick Mahomes they've ever seen. That's crazy, right? Like, you heard earlier this week on Game Night, you're watching here on the YouTube channel at Josh Hennig here on YouTube. You heard earlier this week, Rob Monty said it Monday. Reed Fowler said it Tuesday. These are guys who cover the NFL, and they're saying, there's a real possibility that Patrick Mahomes could win the MVP. Think about that. He loses Tyreek Hill, and he could win MVP. That people are saying that he looks better than ever. It's absolutely crazy. So I'm looking forward to this game tonight. And one more tip before I get out of here. Again, thank you for watching on the YouTube channel. Give me a follow here at Josh Hennig on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Patrick Federer announced he's retiring after next week's tournament, the Laver Cup. He's going to play one more time in the Laver Cup tournament, and then he's retiring from tennis. I think tennis is in a very precarious situation right now. When I was growing up, tennis was full of superstars. You had McEnroe and Bjorn Borg in the 80s, Jimmy Connors, and then in the 90s, Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras. And it was like Federer picked up the mantle from those guys. And guys like him and Rafa Nadal, and then later Novak Djokovic, these are guys who are superstars in their sport, but tennis isn't big as it used to be. Tennis has kind of turned into a sport that's like golf. It leans on its stars to carry them in terms of viewer interest. And I'm sorry, but in a tennis world where people don't even know who the number one man or woman is. Serena Williams is retiring. Roger Federer is going to retire. Rafa Nadal, I don't know how many years he's got left in the tank. Djokovic has basically lost two of the prime years of his career at this point to COVID and all the stuff that goes with that. You got to wonder, who's next? People were hoping Nick Kyrgios is going to be next, but that guy seems not to be able to get out of his own way. Federer may be a symbol of the last great tennis superstar. He might be the last tennis player who gets those universal sponsorships, who gets the Rolex sponsorship, who gets the car endorsement, who gets the big time endorsements that you see on regular commercials. He may be the last one, because Djokovic has become polarizing because of his position to not get the COVID shot. You have Nadal, who is getting older. He's not getting any younger. He's only got a few more prime years left, and I don't even know they're prime years at this point because of all of his knee injuries. Medvedev is inconsistent. Kyrgios is inconsistent. Tennis is going to lose their biggest star. They're going to lose the Tiger Woods in terms of popularity and visibility of their sport. And the difference between golf and tennis is that golf is a sport that, at least if you don't love golf, you are still interested because there's a mystique that comes with the sport. And a lot of people play golf, even if they're not good at it. So there's a personal interest as well. People look at golf and say, man, these guys are way better than me. I wish I could do what they do. Tennis is not the same. Not many people play tennis as they do golf. Golf's a casual leisure sport. Tennis is a sport for people who are in much better physical condition. So tennis has lost a lot of its prestige. And unless it finds a new superstar, tennis is going to be in a world of hurt, because a post Serena Williams, Roger Federer world for tennis looks pretty dark. All right. Thanks to everybody who watched on the YouTube channel here. Give me a like, give me a subscribe here on the YouTube channel. I'm Josh Hennig. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Game Night, which you can hear on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN Mobile, right here on this YouTube channel. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'll catch you all tomorrow.